what are some four top tips that you would have if you were hiring or advising somebody to hire a Social Security disability representative? So what is the strategy that you do as an example that I expect most don't? And then how does that tie into like when you're looking for somebody, like the four key things um, that somebody should look for in a right hire? Does that make sense?
Yes. First question would be, are you a member of NADA or NASCAR? Those are the two organizations that Social Security representatives can belong to. And if they're not a member of either one of them, they're not getting enough continuing education to be a good Social Security representative. So that's essential and a basic.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, what percentage of your practice is Social Security disability? Choosing a lawyer is difficult. Just because somebody handled your sister's divorce doesn't mean they can handle your Social Security disability claim. And there's a lot of lawyers who will take anything that comes in the door. You want someone who has a minimum of 50% of their practice being Social Security disability. Next thing is look up, and it's easy to find, what percentage of the cases in your area are being approved. Ask the lawyer then what percentage of their cases are approved. If they're not getting more cases approved than the average in your area, you don't need them. There's one lawyer I know who brings in hundreds and hundreds of cases every month. In his market, the average favorable rating is 42%, and he wins 27%. People are better off without him than with him. You want to know what percentage they're winning. The next thing is you want to know if you lose at a hearing, will they appeal your case to the appeals council? And if they appeal to the appeals council, do they write a brief? Also, backing up a bit, do they write a brief before the hearing or a memo?
Mm-hmm.
My pre-hearing memo is a page and a half, 2 pages, and I like it to be a roadmap for the judge on why they should pay the case. It doesn't have to be long, but it has to hit the highlights of your disability. If they don't write a pre-hearing memo, they're winging it. They're not doing what's necessary to give you the best chance of getting a favorable decision. Another one, do they get all the medical records or do they rely on you to do it? There are some representatives who tell the client, okay, you're seeing Dr. Smith, ask him for a copy of his records. Tell Dr. Jones to fill this form out for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some doctors won't fill the form out unless the patient brings it in with them. But that's the unusual circumstance. The representative should be getting the medical records, not you. They should be doing the work on your case to earn the fee they're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to know, what do you do on the case? Do you look at my vocational background? Do you know how to cross-examine the vocational witness who's going to be at a hearing? Do you write a memo about the case? And if it's not a yes to everything, keep looking for another representative.
Good point. I asked for four, but as always, you go above and beyond. That was excellent. So the second part of this is the judges that you have in Cleveland, and this is recorded. I don't want to get in any trouble. I don't think we're going to by doing this, but I know you've got some judges there that have very low approval rates, and they're not the only
Right.
ones. Dallas North has some as well, but you have done something that is unique, that this could give individuals an idea of what they want to look for in a disability representative, because not everybody can hire you and so on and so forth. But as an example, so please.
Chicago has the lowest paying judge in the country. She approved 5 out of 269 cases last year.
Oh my God.
Which is just disgraceful. But what I do when I get the judges who are very low approvals payer people is I will get a sworn statement from the attending physician. I will actually have a court reporter as if I'm doing a deposition, except there's no one to cross-examine them. And I will ask the doctors all the questions I need to ask them to show that my client should get disability. And it's everything from their diagnosis, the treatment, what's worked, what hasn't worked, why it hasn't worked, how many days a month my client would be expected to miss from work if they were trying to do a full-time job, and a whole lot of questions. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes. A doctor I did recently said, this was like sitting in our living room chatting the way you made that happen. But it was a sworn testimony. I then filed it, and to the judge, it looks like you're treating them like a real judge, not a Social Security judge. Social Security judges are real judges. They're appointed by the Secretary of Social Security. But a judge who's elected to be a judge in your community. But you're showing them a different kind of respect by doing that. And by doing that, I laid the groundwork to show them this is a serious case. This is why I think you should be approving it. And if they don't approve it, I've made a good record to file my appeal.
Yeah. Yeah. In the work that you're doing, you're pretty much geographically concentrated, right? So I would expect that the judges know you.
The judges know me, although I do get cases from, I have a client in Oklahoma, one in Chicago.
Yeah.
I have them all over the country. But
Okay.
most of my clients are in Ohio.
Okay. Last question, and this is actually from me as a general interest question, but it does apply to everybody before we start taking questions from others, is if you look at the flow of work at Social Security, are there times of the year or quarters of the year when there's more awards than others?
I think it's a pretty steady approval denial type thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, can't they approve it? It's Christmas time. That doesn't mean anything to the judges.
No.
What's worse is the difference state by state. If you're in Ohio, you're going to get your first decision in 5 to 6 months. If you're in Texas, you're going to get your first decision in 13 to 15 months. Hearings take a different amount of time depending on where you are. Average length of time for a hearing from when you request one is 15 months. In some places, though, it's 5 months, and in other places, it's 30 months. So it's a geographical issue also.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that.